The story is certainly picking up speed. Just a few hours ago, we heard the first reports that perhaps terror was at the center of this, that perhaps the shooter acted out of his ideology, and now we have confirmation of that. Walid Phares is the Fox News Middle East and terrorism analyst. He joins us on the phone. An interesting part of that press conference, Walid, was the moment when the mayor stepped to the microphone, and the mayor got up there and said, the teachings of Islam has nothing to do with what happened. This is a criminal. It has nothing to do with being a Muslim. But then after the mayor talked, you had the police again step to the microphone and say, just as Rick Leventhal reported to us, that the shooter was pledging allegiance to the Islamic State and acted in the name of Allah. So how do you pull those two things together?
Well, generally, this is basically an example of this disconnection between the political level and the law enforcement reporting. Government and authorities, as you have mentioned, said there's no ideological, no religious, no political background to this, and no connection to a terror group. Maybe we could argue that we would have to establish the connection to a terror group. But what has been established is that that individual, with his statement, said, I am adhering to that terror group, the Islamic State, and I am doing this for these purposes. Now, we know that he has a criminal record, but that does not change the fact that he has an ideology or not, because we've seen in the past that there were some individuals with no criminal records who have perpetrated jihadism, and some with criminal records who have done the same. In my view, generally, expert assessment, many experts now are going to be looking at the statements he made, at the national security context, and they're going to be seeing to understand if this assassination is politically motivated, regardless of what comes into that political. I mean, we should not worry about philosophy and theology. Is he doing this for jihadism or not? Because attacking a police means you are attacking the authority. Otherwise, he would have been shooting against any other target. So that would be my first approach to it.
Interesting. So, I mean, what you're saying is the shooter is essentially telling us, yes, I acted in the name of Islam. And then we're getting all these different layers of explanations from those in power. But it seems fairly clear what he did and why he did it, at least for right now. Walid, if you had the opportunity to sit across from this man who committed this crime, what would you be asking him to figure out, is he connected to a larger group? And tell us whether or not that's significant at this moment.
I would be asking him more of the same. I would be asking him, tell us exactly why you did it. Not the other way around. You did not do it because of Islam. That is a political assessment. You know, if you want to do a real investigation, first you empty everything this individual will have to tell you. Then you do your assessment. Then you would know that he's a solo jihadist, he's an apprentice jihadist, he is somebody who's really connected, but he's not saying it. First, the government obligation is to get all the information from that individual. And of course, there are ways and means to extract the absolute important information, not just operational, but including inspirational.
Have you seen anything online? Because I know this is something that you regularly watch. What are the message from jihadists coming from overseas? Have you seen anything to suggest that this is part of a new goal, new strategy, that this is part of something bigger?
The problem is it is not even a new strategy or new tactic. We are living in the era of post-Paris, post-San Bernardino, post-Chattanooga. So what if he really made those statements? That's what I'm interested in. If he has made those statements before, one or two times, the entire context that we are looking at are guidance coming from ISIS. You don't have to be a member of ISIS, but guidance coming from ISIS and also from Al-Qaeda to anybody who believes in their ideology. They don't have to have an ID card to engage in an action against authorities, policemen, army. There is a whole code by the jihadists now to people in principle like this case, because I don't know, the government even doesn't know, if this person had previous contact or not. He has an attachment to an ideology, most likely. He's making the statement, but did he validate this? As we had the discussion over San Bernardino, is there a validation? Did he speak to somebody? Did he email somebody? Did he send a Facebook message? That's what I think we should be going strategically.
And that's what they're doing right now. They're issuing, and they're actually exercising those search warrants. In San Bernardino, we saw something similar in pledging allegiance to ISIS after the attack. At least that's according to the reports. And now potentially that's what's happening here. Are you concerned about more copycats to come going into the weekend, Walid? What would you be worried about?
my dear friend, every time we discuss those cases, the next question is the most difficult. Will there be more? Well, we are in a state of war. So you're going to project that the other side, the jihadist side, should it be organized, connected, disconnected, lone wolves, a pack of lone wolves, they are in the mood of trying to attack us. I mean, listen to what the FBI leadership has been telling the public from over a few weeks ago. They are investigating cases, probably similar to this one, and maybe other cases, in all 50 states. So my answer can only be pessimistic that, yes, we have to be very careful. We have to be, very vigilant about the possibility of any kind of these jihadi attacks. Now, look at all the 5, 6 cases that we've covered over the past few years. They are different. They're not the same. They're not clones.
Well, certainly not. And this is particularly chilling because we have the video and the photos to go along with it, and now some more information. Walid, great to have you as we continue to follow this breaking news. John.